Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. I so love it when there's people waiting in the wings to jump on when we come on live. Thank you so much for those of you that are already jumping on. We appreciate you. We appreciate the support for the Her Version community. Remember, this platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Rachael Burns. Rachael has always had a strong desire to understand happiness and what helps us as humans to continually move away from suffering and live the most fulfilling and joyful life possible. This stemmed from her journey of internal turmoil, having experienced the mental imprisonment of anorexia and depression. Her story is filled with challenges that she had to overcome in order to find her authentic self. Rachael is passionate about eating clean, yoga, and overall wellness for humanity. Welcome, Rachael. Have you had any limiting beliefs that you can think of off the top of your head?
Oh yes.
What's a big one?
So I can even remember the date when I had this insight into my own psyche. It was 2012, summertime 2012. And I've always had a tendency to do autotherapy, let's say. So to sit down and have conversations with myself. To do the asking questions, to start unraveling things, to understand self a little bit more. And in one of these personal therapy sessions, this realization came up that up until that point in my life, I had been living my life through the perceived perceptions of the people around me. So I was projecting onto people what I thought that they thought about me.
Yeah.
And then I was adjusting how I was in accordance to what I thought they were thinking.
I love it. I love it. That's great. Yes, that's what people do. What a great realization.
It is when we do it, I see it a lot, and I certainly saw it in my own journey.
Yes.
That we can adjust ourselves to the temperature of the room that we walk into. And so in doing so, we dim our light so as not to outshine, so as to fit in, and not to make other people feel uncomfortable. But in doing that, we're not being authentic.
Yeah.
We're hiding parts of ourselves so that we can adjust to what we think people are thinking of us, when we have no idea what other people are thinking.
Yeah.
And then we say, no, you're not good enough to be like that in this situation. Just tone it down a little bit.
Yes. What do you do now?
One huge thing is connecting with a community that also practices these things.
Beautiful.
Gives even more space to be more and more authentic. I love going to ecstatic dances. Have you heard of ecstatic dances?
No, but I think I've seen it. Tell me what it is. I think I've seen it on social media.
It's a space where no alcohol or substances are permitted. So you go in, you've got your bottle of water and you've got your comfortable clothing. Music is put on, and you just allow yourself, often eyes closed, to feel and express through movement. And there's something so liberating. You're no longer dancing to be seen, dancing to be like anyone else. It's just the body and how we move our bodies has a huge impact on how we feel. And you think of a confident person, how they stand. You think of a timid person, how they stand. So when we're in an environment where we just get to move in whatever way feels natural, stuff comes up. We start to get to understand things about ourselves maybe we didn't know before, and to find more freedom, and to be seen in ways that we haven't been seen before.
Where is this done at?
Here in the south coast of Spain, well, across Spain itself, there's a lot of ecstatic dances. Ibiza's got,
Are they at clubs or are they at like studios?
Oh, sometimes they'll be in the middle of a park. A friend of mine does this amazing festival called On Base, and she does it in Oxford, and I think she's taking it to other places. And they've got lots, they'll be in a park, and they'll have these huge ecstatic dances.
And they just play music, and you just dance. What's so crazy about this? To answer your question, no, I have not heard of this. But what's so interesting is probably for 15 years now, I have had this thought in my head of exactly that. So no drugs, no alcohol, juice and water only, like green juices. And it was going to be called, so I guess somebody could steal this, but it was going to be called, which it's already existing. So it was going to be called Zero. And the reason it was going to be called Zero is to stand for like, you go in with zero, like there's zero excuses. You don't have to follow a routine. There's no like weightlifting. It's just your body and you movement. And it's easy, and you just go with the flow, and there's no extras. You don't have to get dressed up. You don't have to have special clothes. You don't have to get dazzled. You just come as you are, zero excuses, and just dance your ass off. So that is so cool. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
How long have you been involved in that?
Well, my first realization, the one I told you about with the eye contact, was through a similar practice called primal dance, that I believe was born in Argentina. And this is a little bit more guided. So I started that 6 years ago.
Wow.
And being able to combine the self-awareness practice and the meditative practice of yoga and that freedom that you get within those environments, and then take that freedom into a yoga practice or a fitness session, it changed the way that I exercised and how I related to my body. It's something so simple and, again, free, like you were saying. It's completely free. Well, maybe you pay the entrance for the event, but it's worth it.
Yeah. That's great. I want to take a moment really fast to acknowledge our listeners. Those of you that are here live, we so appreciate you being here, supporting us. For those of you that are watching on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you are so that we know that you are here and you are listening, and we can send you some love. Rachael, I would love for you to tell us what you do. I mean, obviously, you've got a background here in so many different avenues. Can you explain to us, what your business is, how you help all the humans?
Yeah. I mean, there is so many ways to get to know ourselves. And I found that there is such a powerful connection between when we're training our mind and when we're training our body. And having been through the process of healing a relationship with my body and with myself through the modalities of yoga and meditation and fitness training and mind training, I just decided to begin to share what helped me heal with the world. And I've actually got a free event coming up next week, and it's all about these practices. It's basically how to go from where we are right now, wherever that is physically, emotionally, and taking that first step forwards. And it's all about building a loving relationship with ourselves, feeling at peace with the body, and of course, feeling at peace with food. It's something in the fitness industry I see a lot. And you actually mentioned this earlier, that eating disorders or just challenges with food, fear and guilt around food, or challenging emotions around food is present for so many people. And life doesn't have to be that way. We can be at peace. We can find peace with the food that we eat. We can find peace with the body that we live in as we're creating an empowering mindset and building a life with purpose and meaning.
Yeah.
So I do courses all around how to make that a reality, all online. So
That's great. I have your website above your head right here. Is that where they can go to find all this juicy information?
Probably the best avenue is through the Facebook group, because you get to see the videos, you get to participate in the free events. If I go on a Facebook Live, to do some morning motivation, then they'll actually get to listen into that. Right, whereas the website's a little bit more static. So
yes. Yeah. So what's the Facebook group?
The Facebook group is called Train Your Trinity with Rachael.
Oh, I love that. What does Trinity mean?
So in yoga, we talk about the union of the body, the mind, and the soul.
Okay.
And in the courses, we focus on the union of those three and how to bring them all together. So the training of the mind to create the empowering mindset, the optimizing of the physical health, whilst creating the soul's purpose in this lifetime.
Yes. Oh, good name. I always love hearing when people name their groups. That's fantastic. I love it. Mm-hmm. What does success mean to you?
Success feels like being at peace with the good and the bad moments in life. When we learn a growth mindset that is also based on a love vibration. So a growth mindset that allows love in. It's one thing is we can create a growth mindset, but also allowing love in as we're doing that. So that when we're growing and everything's going great, fantastic. And then when things are challenging, stuff comes up, life may throw something at us, that we have the ability to say, okay, now what?
Yeah.
What do I do with this? How can I learn? How can I grow? How can I show up as the best version of myself right now, so that when I wake up tomorrow morning, I'll be proud of what I did. And I will know I honored my needs and I showed myself love, even if it was hard.
Yeah.
And then,
I like that as far as waking up in the morning and being proud. That's good. I can imagine that. Versus the opposite. And sometimes we get caught up in stuff like that, where we wake up in the morning and we're not proud of what we did. So I can totally appreciate that. I'd love to speak to women right now who are listening now or on the replay, who are in the middle of a struggle or in the middle of a challenge, and they're trying to find their real self. You were talking about earlier in our podcast, finding your authentic self and being vulnerable and speaking your story and your truth. What would you say to females right now listening who are struggling with finding their authentic self?
One of the experiences that comes about from having a regular mind training practice, be that meditation or something else, is the ever-growing realization that we are not our beliefs, We are not our thoughts. We're not our emotions. We're not even who we perceive ourselves to be. And we can get really stuck in the experience of being our beliefs, of being our perception of self, and think that there's no way out. And once we realize that it's programs that we've learned from maybe even prior to birth, but mainly from the day that we were born, we learn programs. So we understand who we are through the programs that have been, through our life experiences. And once we understand it's a program, so your thought is not you, your belief is not you, the fear is not you. It's a program that you learned. So that means that we can learn new programs. We can learn a program where we honor who we are, we love who we are, we face our fears. And yes, it's scary. And it's just about taking that first step, whatever that first step is for you. It's just saying, okay, today I'm going to show up for me. How do I do that?
And thinking about how long it's taken us to learn the programs that we know so far. So it takes time. And a lot of times we have to unprogram and then reprogram. Those limiting thoughts that you and I were talking about earlier, we have to unlearn or unprogram those limiting beliefs that we have and then reprogram some good stuff. I agree.
Yeah. And one thing that came up when you said that, I participate in a few support groups for people with eating disorders. And when we come to a certain point in our lives, we can get so stuck in the same loop and repeating the same thoughts and relating to food in the same way. And just by asking ourselves, what if I was to do the complete opposite? And just try that for a couple of days, what would happen? What if I was just to be a completely different version of myself just for a few days and see what happens, just trying it out a bit like a child again? Yeah.
I love that. So taking on like a new trait just for a day of like smiling at every person you meet.
Well, I mean, for me, it was, have you seen the series Vikings with Ragnar Lothbrok and Lagatha?
No, but I'm sure my fiance has. That's right up his alley. So tell me.
They're these really powerful characters. And I mean, the women, they're both this combination of feminine and strong.
Wow.
And so sometimes I would just visualize Lagatha and ask myself, what would Lagatha do? What would Lagatha do right now?
Yes. We have to have people in our, I love that you're saying that, because that is one of the things that actually got me to where I am now, which I'm still learning, right? Still pulling, still growing. But that is one of the things that I've done in my life, is having a what would so-and-so do in my life at all. And it's changed, it's altered. It goes back and forth sometimes, but it's always good to have a role model who you're modeling after in order to continue to rise. That's great. I'll have to look that up. What's her name? Lagatha?
Lagatha, yes.
I'm just imagining like just some crazy costumes right now. Like the dress attire. This is what it's in my head. I don't know. Like dresses. I don't know. And I'm assuming it's back in the Viking era, right?
Yeah, with the strong hair, and this is where this came from, the slightly shaved hair.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love it now even more than I knew when I first saw it. That's cool. Lagatha. Well, I'll be doing a Google search on that one when we get off. So girl, I so appreciate you being here. I so appreciate you hanging out with us. and sharing some of your journey. Do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap it up here?
Just to know that sometimes it can be really challenging. We might be having a bad day, but just remembering that everything is temporary and nothing is permanent.
That's the best. That's the best. That's great. Well, thank you so much. For those of you watching live and still with us here, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate the love and support. For those of you watching on the replay, again, make sure you send us some love with a hashtag replay so we know that you are here and hanging out with us. I want to thank you so much for being here on the Her Version podcast. This community is expanding every single day, and it's filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and share. If you have a story to share, make sure you reach out to me or at the herversion.life website. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform with Rachael today that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. Until next time, do something awesome today. Much love.